And a good Friday afternoon, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Big picture, we have the ridge of higher pressure in the center of the country, have a very strong trough of lower pressure, a couple different short waves that are diving down along the west coast. This is pumping up the ridge of higher pressure, and then downwind of the ridge of higher pressure as it pumps up a little bit, we're seeing a trough of lower pressure, and they're getting into a kind of a wavy spring-like weather pattern right now. And of course, as these progress eastward, we're going to see a lot of changes. Looking at the temperatures right now, this is we're seeing basically some pretty cold temperatures from this morning, well below zero this morning. Those temperatures are moderating upward, and it looks like that's going to be the last of the below zero temperatures for a little while, hopefully for a long while. Now, the warmer air, as you can see down in the southern part of the United States and kind of being scooped out of Mexico, and with this strong trough of lower pressure and the succeeding one that's going to be dropping in, that combination is bringing a lot of lowered confidence, unfortunately, past about 4 days. Looking at the wind gust scenario across the U.S. this afternoon, conditions really not a problem here. We do have a little bit of flurry action with this weak shortwave trough that's working through. You can see it here, and it's going to just slide on by. It's going to throw some clouds at us, so the rest of today, Friday, is going to see a little bit more cloud cover, and there has been a little bit of flurry action. Generally very light and really not much to worry about there. Big picture, looking at the area of higher pressure, we have the GFS on the right, and we have the European on the left. In very good agreement, of course, overall. European not showing up with the flurries as quite as much as the GFS, and that's why I think also they'll be relatively light. But this area of higher pressure will be exiting off the coast and kind of opening the door for the next weather system, which is going to be pushing on in. But we do have a dry rest of the day Friday, a dry Friday night, and really during the daylight hours, a very dry Saturday as well. It's not until basically late in the day and then we get into especially Saturday night, we see a little bit of an extension here of, this is about 10 o'clock at night, just starting to see some freezing rain or mixed precipitation types. And most of it is going to be across the northern areas and the eastern parts of Vermont. I'm not buying the GFS solution here, but I think it's really going to be lifting out into Canada and then really going right over to rain. And by roughly about 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, we're going to see that transition to much warmer air, and so we're looking at rainfall. This is about running about 3 sigma precipitable water standard deviation, this system here, but it's fairly intense, 992 area of low pressure, hectopascal there, tracking basically from Sault Ste. Marie right across over to about Quebec City. And so as it moves on through, this is going to be the main event for impacts for utilities, where we're going to see a southerly channeling wind on Sunday morning, and then by later in the afternoon on Sunday, we're going to see a southwesterly wind shifting to westerly, and as the area of low pressure begins to pull away. The winds will calm down on Monday morning, but then we have this next system, and that's that second trough of lower pressure or short wave that's dropping in and doing this kind of thing. And here we go. It's a little bit of a difficult forecast because these are shifting back and forth just a bit. The GFS kind of indicates rain with wet snow to the north. The European model is showing more in the way of rain, a little bit of sleet mixed in, maybe some freezing rain. So it'll really depend on how this is going to finally shape up. This is valid on Monday night. That's valid about 7 o'clock in the evening on Monday. And you can see through Monday night it trends back, transitions to snow. Maybe a little bit of a gusty wind on the backside, but right now it's going to stay below thresholds. In the future, we'll have to keep a close eye on that. But the only real impacts looks like the system that when it's going to be diving in ahead here, not the second one that's going to be later in the week. But lowered confidence on these tracks right now. High pressure will then build in for a pretty decent day on Wednesday, and advertising right now with a decent amount of sunshine, so solar generation, pretty good for that. Now beyond that, we have another system that's going to be developing, and you can see this one is going to produce some snow. Again, it's going to be dependent on the track. So kind of two different jet streams involved here, a southerly subtropical jet and the northern branch of the polar jet. And these are always very, very complicated. And you can see the models are starting to come apart just a little bit on where their thinking is. Centered on the Montpelier grid, looking at the GFS ensemble, what we can see here is this little bit of flurries that's happening today, and then of course the business that starts late in the day on Saturday and into Saturday night. And then this more second system that's going to work on through it has a little more beef to it. And then beyond that, we're looking at Wednesday as a dry day, and then a little bit more business coming in. So the total amounts of QPF look like this. And we're around 0.8 of an inch by before the middle part of the week here, with system number 1, system number 2. Also looking at 850 millibar or hectopascal temperatures, about the level of the top of Mount Mansfield. You can see we're climbing out of cold temperatures, and this is 0 degrees centigrade, so this is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And we go above that, we're going to see rain, and it's easily depicted, showing precipitation type with a little bit of a mix on the front end there, and then a change over to all rain. And you can see that this is kind of rain combination snow, maybe a little bit of a mix for that second system on Monday into Tuesday. Now, looking at the total amount of snowfall, this is about what we're looking at, 2 inches. Now, the latest model trends have gotten up a little bit more beefy. This may be a little bit of a wet snow, so again, lowered confidence overall. The other thing I want to show you here is, of course, 850 millibar or hectopascal winds. So we're looking at a pretty good scenario here, gusty winds. That's going to be happening on Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. And we are looking at potential impacts with some gradient winds to affect us then. The weather pattern from west to east across the country is pretty active. Several different storm tracks to watch. And we'll end up with this green line here. This is about 1/2 inch. That's a 1/4 of an inch. So a little better, heftier amounts across more or less southern parts of Vermont, a little bit less to the north. Looking at the climate reanalyzer in terms of where we are, this is anomalous cold in our region, of course. This is going to be whisked on out, and eventually we're going to trend with warmer temperatures, and you can see that here. This is the meteorological output statistics in the next high temperature 5 days. We got it running about 12 degrees above in the eastern seaboard here, but we're up around 3 degrees above normal. And then about 3 days later, that's where we're setting up about 3 degrees above normal. Look at out west here. Cold weather dropping in again for another visit. And that's going to do it from here with this complex weather forecast outlook. Thanks for watching.